Probation and Aftercare Service is charged with the management and supervision of offenders serving non-custodial orders. It's also aligned to courts and is operational in the entire country. The service runs core programs, namely Probation and Aftercare Service, Community Service Orders, and Aftercare Services. The department has several functions, mainly social inquiry reports for administration of justice in courts and penal institutions, supervision of offenders serving non-custodial orders and sanctions, aftercare and reintegration and resettlement of offenders in the community. The category of offenders supervised and duration of their terms under probation service include probation orders, which has probationers aged 8 years and above and may be sentenced to serve for a duration of 6 months to 3 years. Community service orders supervisees target ages 17 years and above for a duration of 1 day to 3 years. Aftercare service is a service for ex-long-term prisoners who are supervised for a period of 3 years. Then we have special category of psychiatric offenders who are supervised for a period of 2 years. The next category is youth and children exiting penal institutions who are supervised for a period of 2 years. Assessment of offenders is important in determining their levels of risk, needs, and responsivity, and their weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths. At Probation and Aftercare Service, we do the initial assessment during the social inquiry stage, the results of which will inform, among other considerations, whether an offender will be best suited for custodial or non-custodial rehabilitation. Other assessments are done during the supervision period, as the case may be. What do we look for in an assessment? The static risk factors cannot be changed by way of intervention. Dynamic risks can be changed by intervention. Criminogenic needs directly link to the offense and/or the offender's general pattern of offending. Case planning is done 30 days after placement of the offender on non-custodial supervision or release of the offender from a penal institution for supervision by a probation officer. During the 30 days, the offender is allowed time to settle down with his family with the guidance of a probation officer who provides resettlement assistance with close monitoring to ensure smooth resettlement process. Case planning primarily involves the probation officer and the offender. The planning process may also involve offenders' family members, especially if the offender is a juvenile or an offender with special needs. In special circumstances, it may involve the victim and the community where cultural rituals are required to be performed as a reparative measure. Case planning involves preparation of an individual supervision plan, a treatment plan, and a rehabilitation plan. These plans contain goals expected to be met, a schedule of activities to be achieved, time frames that show the duration required for each task to be accomplished, persons responsible for meeting each task, a budget where finances are required, progress indicators for the planned activities and objectives. Offenders are required to report regularly as required to the probation officers. Offenders assessed as low risk usually have less contact meetings with their probation officers but must report at least once a month. Probationers assessed as medium to high risk will have more contact meetings with their probation officers. Any contact made between the probation officer and the offender is recorded in the offender supervision file. Probation officers report the progress of offenders and cases to courts if a court order is made to that effect, or in the case of breach of the court order. Case conference meetings, which is a meeting of peers from the same probation station. Case committee meeting, which is a statutory committee required to receive reports from probation officers on the progress of offenders. Interventions for the offender entail well-planned work for the purpose of rehabilitation and public safety. Therefore, the offender interventions may incorporate an array of activities focused on changing the behavior of the offender to law-abiding citizens.